if happiness is love, design is empathy. Design is a process for understanding the people, because in the end, you are not your market. So you have to establish empathy with your market.
We tend to be very product-oriented or service-oriented. We're inside the car looking out, and we want to take our product to the world. And we tend to have this product push or service push. And again, it's natural, it's perspective. We forget we've got to remove ourselves from the vehicle and look at our product or service through the eyes of the customer.
End users are where the value is derived from. And the way I look at the world is that you have investors that give money to companies, you have companies that get money from customers, but the ultimate value comes from the end users being surprised and delighted by products and services that fill their unmet needs.
The reality is 66% of the things that we send overseas and get money for are things that you either dig up or kill and eat or wear. So we have to obviously diversify the sorts of things that we do in order to grow our export base.
This is one of our most popular values within Vend, probably because it has a swear word in it, which, just fucking do it. If you've got a great idea, if a retailer is having trouble, whatever it is, if it seems obvious, then do it.
I just love being here tonight and being with you and giving you a sense that the city is totally behind you and with you. We are with this sector in every sense, and sometimes we will invest to support you as you grow and deliver out the outcomes for this nation.
Every single technology or improvement to our lives begins as an idea. And that means every single company begins with an idea, and that is with IP. But often we tend to focus on the trees, the tangible products, and not the wood, the intellectual property itself. And that IP is in itself a valuable asset and a major driver for exit value.
We try and figure out just where things are sitting, but then we sit back and we make a judgment about the product, whether we think that people will buy it and keep on buying it. We make a judgment about the board and whether we think that they can actually manage this process. We make a judgment about the management team, how driven they are and whether we think they're going to be successful in it. We also make a judgment about the stock market and whether we think that we can get that business out and listed within 1 or 2 or 3 years. We're judging around the risks and the limitations for growth.
This is not about taking money and selling our businesses to the Americans or to the Australians and then retiring. I know very, very few people who have created a successful business who have then sat back and retired. They've gone on and reinvested that money.
I think the big question is, do you exit or do you go? You should exit. You should get the cash, take the money off the table as soon as you possibly can. Live large like CB, and do that sort of stuff. That's part of entrepreneurship, and that's a base thing. You've got to do that, and then once you've done that, with each one you get a bit more experience, a bit more networks. Then you can think about sort of doing things bigger and bigger and bigger.
Peter Beck's one of my heroes. He's a Kiwi hero. He went down to the Hawaii Gulf with a new formula for putting rockets into space. Instead of using liquid fuel or solid fuel, he made a hybrid. It's the sort of things Kiwi do. Think outside the square. Now, you can't do that in America. It's illegal. They'd lock you up. You can't do it in Australia because the air traffic controllers want to know where it's going to land. We have no bloody idea where it landed. Because we're Kiwis. We don't give a shit. And that's the magic.
So over the days, I must say that, I called in a lot of favors, and so did Kylie and our connections in terms of getting these speakers here for you, and really thought long and hard about the whole journey and the life cycle of a company. What is it? I went through it when I was hired as CEO for Biomatters nearly 10 years ago, and God almighty, I learned a lot, and there was no prescription, there was no recipe. You sort of stumble around and hope for the best, and it was really a personal passion of mine to put together a sequence of speakers in a logical order that I wish that I had gone to, in the early days, and just had created some of these connections and understood how our supporters for this conference, being ATEED, Callaghan Innovation, New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, how they all work in the system. And, you sort of find out along the way, but it's always nice nice to know ahead of time when you need them and how they can actually lend a hand. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Really appreciate it.